Hello, hello, Oklahoma County. I am Christopher Johnston, and this is the Oklahoma County Justice Project. And I wanted to talk about today, this is the second video. We did a rough launch today, very unpolished, but hey, today being January 22nd of 2025. So I want to talk about this very crucial and very important county commissioner race, right? Now, there's a lot of people that have weighed in who they believe is going to be the winner. And I said, you know what? I'm going to throw my hat into the ring. I have six major reasons why I think this particular person is going to win not only the primary that's coming up in February 11th, but the general election that is shortly after that. We have an independent who's Jed Green. He is kind of new. He's not really anybody in politics, which is not saying a bad thing. It's just that he's relatively new. Just kind of showed up, at least in this realm, right? And then you got three Democrats, and typically this is the county commissioner district 1, right? Which is mostly Democrat, and so usually whoever wins the Democratic primary wins the election, right? That's usually how it goes. It's pretty much, I think, that's how it's always has gone. But here's the thing: the three Democrats are Anastasia Pittman, Jason Lowe. Those two have been in politics forever, and then you have a fairly new person in politics, city council person Sara Bana from Ward 5, Midwest City. Now, I'm going to do a caveat. I do support her campaign, Councilwoman Sara Bana, and have done what I could to get her message out there. However, I have supported people who I knew whose candidacy had no shot of winning, but because I supported them. Right? There are people who have run, and I've even told them bluntly, you don't have a mathematical chance. So when I say this, I'm coming from about as unbiased a view as I can be, right? We all have a little bias, but I'm being about as neutral as possible. So I am predicting that Sara Bana is going to win. Right? Now, hear me out here. You go, okay, he just said he works for, that's fine. I used to initially early on go, that's going to be at least Anastasia Pittman or Lowe because they've been around longer, right? They got donors and money. But I had to think about it. And as I thought about it, as I started looking at trends, I started realizing that Sara Bana is the person who's going to win. Now, here's why. There's a couple of reasons why, smaller reasons that affect why maybe a small percentage of people won't vote for somebody, gender or race, right? Those are usually ones. That one is not, that'll take some people, they won't vote for somebody because they look a certain way or whatever. But District 1 is pretty diverse, so that usually doesn't play a factor. So diversity being the number one thing, right? A lot of great discussions. So people aren't a monolith. They're not just lock in step. We all look this way and think this way, right? No one's really a monolith, but we're very, very diverse in District 1, right? There is a lot of diversity. So I feel like that goes into her favor. She has a history of working with people of all sides of the aisle, political, different races, whatever. She's definitely got a better documented history than that. But that one's kind of a toss-up. That's probably the weakest one, right? So we're going to move on to number 2. She's strong and confrontational. Now people go, wait, wait a minute, confrontational? How is that benefiting somebody? Well, let me explain. So strong and confrontational, right? There was a town hall meeting, debate, whatever that happened, and she was the one that was the most confronting and spoke the longest. Those social scientists have shown have been some of the biggest predictors as to why people vote for somebody. Boom, right there. They're talking more and they're confrontational. Whether they're right or wrong, that's not what the keys are. Most knowledgeable. This is 3. most knowledgeable about the issues of the county operations. She has displayed that in her interviews, in when debating. She clearly knows what she's talking about when it comes to county politics on down. The others know more about state, right? Um, Populism is on the rise. This is number 4. This is a huge one. Throughout the world, right wing, left wing populism is on the rise. People are bucking the status quo, right? We're seeing throughout the world, whether it's in Europe, United States, or wherever, people are getting away from establishment politics. Whether right or wrong, that's not what I'm saying. It's just people are going for people who are shaking, who are rattling the cage and not going along, right? She is a person who shakes the boat. In fact, she'll tip the boat over. you know, so if you ever hear her talk and debate and everything, she's, not one of those people that goes along to gets along. And people like that goes back into strong and confidence about being confrontational, is about that goes with populism. You have to be strong. You have to be this person who's going to confront the evil system. It's kind of the idea of populism, right? One of the ideas. She's gotten the most free press out of anybody. Like, literally the most free press. She is. This is without having to pay for anything, push out any ads or anything like that, simply because of involvement down at the county level. People see her, right? And the news people are there. So what do? They turn the camera on and ask her some questions while the others are not there, because they don't typically show up to those events, right? Relatable. She's very relatable. You hear her talk. It's how she talks. She's very passionate. I've seen her other 2 Democratic opponents talk, and I didn't feel like that they were very passionate about what they were saying, like they were speaking directly to people, right? Um, Consistently, right? So those are my 6 picks, right? The 6 reasons why: diversity, um, relatability, right? Strong and confrontational, uh, most knowledgeable. Populism is on the rise, which goes into strong and confrontational, and has the most free press. Exposure, exposure, exposure. If people know who you are, right? So think about it like this. That's why I'm predicting Councilwoman Sara Bana is going to win. Now, I'm not always right. I am over 80% right when I make predictions. But that's my prediction. So, thank you all for listening. The video went on a little bit longer, but when we're talking about stuff, sometimes we have to kind of delve into why. I'm not just going to do 30-second sound bites, right? There are reasons for this. So again, I'm predicting, now I'm not going to say it's easy, that Councilwoman Sara Bana will win the county commissioner race. And most importantly, how that happens is we have to go vote. We have to vote. We have to show up and vote for whoever you want to vote for. Most importantly, vote, right? People fought and died for your right to vote, whether you were a civil rights activist, from the 1960s that had to go through hell to get folks to vote, whether you're a soldier or whatever. Folks had to fight for your right to vote. So let's honor past generations and ourselves by voting. Vote, vote, vote. Oklahoma County, you're beautiful. I love you, and you're absolutely worth it. Christopher Johnston signing out. See you guys around.